Hello and good evening, fellow cake eaters. I'm happy we could meet in the loveliest place in the world. That is delicious. I don't see how Disney has anything on this place. I'm glad we're all meeting together as the executives and the board members as we come to the end of 2025. I want to take this time, look back at the past 5 years, and I'm very proud of the team we've built, the trust we've built coming out of the COVID pandemic. I know it's hit everybody in the industry at different points and different levels, but we came out on the other side a lot stronger than I would have expected, honestly. Now, with the growth we've put into the company, we need to start generating some reciprocal value to match this growth in the company as we expand. We got our third bakery opening up 2026. We're going to pump out some more of these delicious cakes. And so the purpose of this meeting is really to talk about a corporate social responsibility to the communities that we conduct business in. Our CSR informs how we operate in relation not only to the environment, but also to the food we serve, the staff members, employees, and the communities we reside in. As our growth increases, I do perceive a risk that if we do not match our growth of social good programs with the growth of the rest of the company, the brand equity will be put at risk. So this meeting is to address kind of that piece and talk one-on-one on how that's going to go. Before we start, though, I'm going to hand it over to Clark to keep me honest and remind us of our capital at where it is currently and where it's going. So Clark, take it away.
Thank you, David. As we discuss incorporating social purpose into our strategy, I want to focus on financial alignment and sustainability. So first, we need to recognize that our social initiatives are not just costs, but investments in long-term value. On our balance sheet, these show up as intangible assets. They are our brand equity and customer loyalty. While they don't have a physical footprint, these assets create measurable future economic benefits in employee retention and customer engagement. And on our income statement, funding these initiatives will temporarily reduce reported profits, and we're actually running low on net margins compared with our competitors. However, I believe this is our strategic choice. The critical thing is we need to budget more efficiently. We must also consider resource allocation to ensure that social purpose does not compromise financial stability. This means that we can focus on sourcing sustainable ingredients and reducing food waste, potentially expanding more on our buys and bulks. Balancing profits and purpose is not a zero-sum game. When managed strategically, social purpose can enhance intangible capital and drive financial performance. Next, let's hear more from our CMO.
Thanks, Clark. From a marketing perspective, I want to reinforce that expanding our social purpose is not just the right thing to do, it's a long-term investment in our brand. The Cheesecake Factory has always stood for hospitality, generosity, and care, and our social purpose makes that clear. We exist to nurture bodies, minds, hearts, and spirits. When we translate that purpose into action in our communities, we strengthen the emotional connection guests feel with us, driving repeat visits, word of mouth, and customer lifetime value. Consumers today want to spend their money with companies that reflect their values. When they see Cheesecake investing in food security, employee wellness, and sustainable sourcing, they feel good about choosing us, and that drives loyalty, return visits, and advocacy. This becomes a critical intangible asset that carries our brand as we expand physically to communicate that beyond the transaction-by-transaction basis, Cheesecake delivers value to our communities, and capital chases value. By aligning our social initiatives with who we already are at our core, we bolster stakeholder trust, deepen brand equity, and reinforce Cheesecake Factory as not only a great place to dine, but a brand that uplifts every community we touch.
Thank you, Donald. From an operations and people standpoint, social purpose only works if it shows up in the way our teams work every day. We are a 45,000 person organization, and if we want purpose to scale with us, it's crucial to implement something our managers can train, track, and celebrate. These are 3 things I think we can act on immediately. First, training. Our onboarding already teaches hospitality, but we can weave in modules on waste reduction, food donation protocols, and community standards so that every new hire understands not only what they need to do, but how and why they need to act this way. Second, labor and retention. If we say we care about our people, we need to tighten the manager to staff coaching system and make career paths more visible. Happier teams means smoother shifts, fewer call-outs, and better guest reviews. Third, store operations. We can roll out a simple, standardized playbook for food donation, composting, and energy-saving routines that don't overwhelm restaurants but still moves us towards our ESG goals. From where I sit, purpose only works if it's operationally realistic. My ask is that as we shape the plan, we align purpose initiatives with existing workflows and frontline realities. If we do that, we'll strengthen our culture, improve efficiency, and support the long-term brand equity the team has talked about. And that's how we make purpose sustainable. And I'll pass it on to Marcus.
Thank you, Kath. From the investor's perspective, I want to ground this discussion in our recent performance. Across Q1 to Q5 2025, we've seen steady but modest momentums. Comps are positive, restaurant level margins set around mid-16 range, and labor pressure have eased. Our disciplined cost control and continued debt reduction after a violent 2024 have rebuilt some balance sheet flexibility, which shareholders appreciate. For investors, social purpose isn't about politics, it's about financial clarity. Purpose can strengthen our most valuable intangible assets: brand equity, customer loyalty, and talent retention. Those factors drive pricing power and future earnings, even if they don't appear directly on the balance sheet. But we need to acknowledge the trade-offs. Any purpose initiatives increase SG&A or operating costs in the short term, and shareholders will react if the impact on profit is unclear. So the question isn't whether we invest, it's how we invest. My position is simple. Shareholders will support social purpose when it's disciplined, measurable, and tied to long-term economic value. If we approach this with transparency and clear KPIs, purpose and profitability don't conflict. They reinforce each other. Now I'll pass it on to the ESG board member.
Thank you, Marcus. I'd also like to ground the discussion in where we already are as a company and why ESG is a strategic foundation. Over the years, the Cheesecake Factory has demonstrated real leadership. Through the Nourish program, we've donated over 8.7 million pounds of food to over 600 local nonprofits across the country. Environmentally, we've committed to the Science-Based Target Initiative with a target to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and reach net zero by 2050. And with over 40 vegetarian and vegan dishes, we already offer one of the most plant-forward menus in casual dining. But we should also recognize the landscape. Chipotle, for example, reports sustainability metrics tied to regenerative agriculture. Panorama has been public about carbon labeling, and Starbucks also continues to invest very heavily in water stewardship and waste diversion. The point is that the industry isn't standing still. ESG performance is increasingly a point of competitive differentiation. So I'll close with this. ESG is a strategy that protects us from risk and keeps us relevant. And for the next step, I will encourage the leaders to consider two important things. The first thing is that can we expand our Nourish Food Recovery program even further? And secondly, how do we continue integrating plant-forward innovation into our menus in ways that strengthen both sustainability and customer appeal? If we stay aligned on these priorities, we will strengthen both who we are today and the competitive advantage we hope for the future.
All right, thank you everyone. Wrote down some big takeaways that I want to bring back and reflect on. But everybody, and it's the need to budget more efficiently. I got our social purpose. We need to exist to nurture the bodies, minds, and hearts and spirits of our employees. I agree with the COO in first looking at the training, second looking at the labor and retention that we're doing, and third the store operations. I take into account the respective shareholders' views in supporting the social purpose that we are trying to achieve, as long as we maintain a disciplined approach and also capitalizing our Nourish Food program that we've established. Based on this, let's get some targets on the wall to throw some darts at going into the future. Let's churn on this until about 15 December before we all break for the holidays and brainstorm on some tentative milestones that we can bring back to align some resources for our planning efforts. And so we can get this into a budget before Q3 so we can really get moving on this because it's a big ship and it's going to take time to turn. Thank you all.
Don't Dublin in the rain is mine, a pregnant city with a Catholic mind. Starts those sheets for the birdhouse jail, all mescaline when the past is stale. Pale, Dublin in the rain is mine, a pregnant city with a Catholic mind.